Hello, Walking the Ropes fans. I am Blake, and welcome to the next episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review for AEW Dynamite from Rochester, New York, home of the late Brody Lee. In today's show, we have a big boom, family troubles, and a new champion. But before that, make sure to check out the Walking the Ropes link tree for all things Walking the Ropes. Before I get into the opening match, I just want to say AEW honored Brody Lee at the start of this show. I think it's amazing because, like I said, they are in his hometown. He was supposed to debut for AEW here. Due to the lockdown, he was unable to do so. That is unfortunate for sure. He made the best of it. He had a fantastic run in AEW. His debut was just amazing. I mean, I remember the build-up for it. I remember speculating with Kaleb, the co-host of the podcasts, who we thought it was going to be. We thought it was Matt Hardy. I thought it was Matt Hardy. He thought it was Brody Lee. And it was when it happened, it was so cool. Because of the fact that he performed during the pandemic for AEW, he never got the chance to wrestle in front of the AEW fans. For anybody who didn't get a chance to see him live, myself included, I never got to see him live. He's just, like, I've seen a lot of his matches. Not all of them were in WWE. But the way he moved in the ring was just fantastic. He was an absolutely amazing wrestler. And from the stories I've heard, because as I've said, I've never met the man. I've never even seen him wrestle live. I really wish I had. He was an even better man from everything I had heard. And it is a shame the wrestling world and the world in general lost him so soon. He left an impact on the wrestling world for sure. I already know when I decide to become a wrestler, there is going to be a move that I do because of Brody. 100% I'm gonna. I think all he ever wanted to do was leave an impact in the world, and he's going to continue to make an impact as AEW carries his name on. It's such a shame that we lost such a great person. Rest in peace, Mr. Brody Lee. We all love and miss you. And I'm definitely speaking for myself, Kaleb, and every member of the wrestling community. Sorry. The first match for AEW was a singles match between Adam Cole and Jungle Boy. I really couldn't think of a better match to open the show, as like we had such a, well, not a downer moment, but a deserved moment of silence at the start, and then we had to put on something amazing, because that's what Brody Lee would have wanted the show to go on, and these two did just that. It was an incredible show for everybody in the arena. And Jungle Boy is going to have one hell of a career in AEW, in wrestling in general, should he decide to go elsewhere. He's one of the most athletic people on AEW's roster, and the same could be said for Adam Cole. And they start out really, really strong with some incredibly powerful back and forth action. Both men like turning each other inside out. And they're mirroring each other too. Like there was a moment where Adam Cole did a float over, or sorry, Jungle Boy did a float over, and Adam Cole went for the same thing, and it was very nice. There were a couple of callbacks to each other. And Cole eventually does start to roll, getting confident, and boy, does it backfire as Jungle Boy turns Cole inside out with a big clothesline. And Jungle Boy looks like he may have it, but there's a lot left in Cole's tank as he just keeps kicking out. Jungle Boy's hitting like a poison Rana, a spike Rana. He's just hitting him with everything he can possibly hit him with. And he even hits a Hurricane Rana off of the apron to the outside, but Cole gets back in the ring. He stuns him with a super kick, hits the Panama Sunrise for a near fall, and then they fight back and forth and then they bump into Aubrey Edwards. Cole uses this to low blow Jungle Boy. He hits the boom for the win. Adam Cole defeats Jungle Boy. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 3.5 out of 5. It was a really solid match through and through. It wasn't like the most electrifying match we've ever seen, but we're not going to get that match every single week for AEW. It was a fantastic match to open the show, and I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen more, because after the match, the Elite makes their way to the ring, and they talk about what makes them elite, having the Impact Tag Team Champions, having the AEW World Champion, and having the best tag team to ever do it, although they're not the AEW Tag Team Champions anymore. And they kind of taunt the crowd for a little while, even say they're going to do the best promo ever, but then they hand the mic to Michael Nakazawa, and then he doesn't really say anything. And then Kenny gets on the mic and he says he keeps being asked if there's going to be a rematch, and he says there's not going to be one. He's obviously speaking between himself and Brian. Brian then decides to make his way out. He says he wants a rematch, and so do the fans. But Kenny says, says Kenny doesn't have enough balls, and says if Kenny won't take the match, then let's see if anybody in the Elite has any balls. Challenges any member of the Elite for a match on Rampage. Kenny says, why not now? And Brian says, well, that's a great idea. He calls out Jurassic Express and Frankie Kazarian and Christian Cage, and they make their way out. And the Elite says, well, no, we just meant you, and they clear out. And that's pretty much the end of that. Andrade then talks with the Lucha Brothers, and they have the AEW Championships and the AAA Championships. So now they're the tag team belt collectors? I mean, that'd be interesting. That'd be a very neat little a middle finger to Kenny. And Andrade comes up to them and he says, so it's time that someone takes the AAA titles, as they haven't defended them in a long time. And he says that he has many friends who will. We then get a tag team match between Dante Martin and Matt Sydal versus Cody Rhodes and Big Shoddy Lee Johnson. And Arn looks like he tells Lee to start out the match, and Cody just gets in the ring instead. And this match starts out quickly, and Lee and Dante both hitting dives to the outside, one after another. And then Lee is taking a big beating as Matt and Dante work well, wearing him down. And this match does a really good job of showing the young stars here in AEW, and when Cody does come in, he hits his big moves, but the brunt of his team's offense comes from Lee. And Lee makes the wise decision as Cody's getting dominated here. He grabs him, pulls him to the corner, tags himself in, and gets the win on Dante Martin. I can't really remember what he hit him with. It's like a package fisherman's suplex into a neck breaker. I can't remember what they had called it on the show when I had watched it back a couple times, and every time they said it, I just couldn't quite pick out what they had said for whatever reason. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 3 out of 5. It was a really, really solid match, honestly, but it felt like it was playing into something else. And it really was, because after the match, Cody calls out Malachi, and Arn tells him to just shut up and says, Cody's a loser. He talks about how if Cody were to get robbed, somebody came up to him and said, get out of the car, Cody'd be like, okay, just don't hurt me. But if Arn was to be robbed, he would just pull out his Glock and put one between the eyes. And he says he's going to be damned if he's going to coach a loser. And takes Lee and leaves. So I think Arn is going to be taking making a group of his own. We're going to have the Nightmare family, or maybe Cody's going to join the Elite. That'd be kind of neat. Who knows? I mean, obviously Cody's not in a position currently to join the Elite as he's not been on a winning streak, but we'll see what comes of this. I'm really, really interested in what's going on, as it seems like the family isn't really much of a family right now. We then get a 6-man tag team match. Darby Allin and Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley versus Bear Bronson, Bear Boulder, and Anthony Green. And this match starts out before Moxley's team is even all in the ring, and that pretty much kind of is the point of this match. It's going to be a quick-paced match, getting us ready for what's to come here. And it really doesn't slow down until it ends. Every guy gets dumped out to the outside. We have Bear Country in a group, and Darby hits the coffin drop on them and takes them out, and Eddie and Moxley hit, I believe they called it Violet Crown, for the win. And Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, and Jon Moxley defeat Bear Country and Anthony Green. It was a very quick match, effective. It showed that they are definitely strong competitors, and it's not going to take anybody it's not just going to take anybody to defeat them. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 3 out of 5. I mean, it's not a bad match at all, because it just is a setup match, more kind of displaying what Darby, Eddie, and John can do. And yeah, I'm wondering if, with setting up all these 3-man teams, we have the Super Click, we have Darby, Eddie, and John. We obviously have Jurassic Express with Christian Cage. I wonder if AEW is setting up for the the trios tag titles. I believe they might be. We then get Ruby Soho says she's got to crawl her way back to the top of the challenge, or to the top to challenge Britt again, because you can't just get another title shot in AEW. You got to earn it. And she says next time Britt will pay. And Britt says Ruby stands no chance. And then we have a 16-man tag team match. The Dark Order and Orange Cassidy versus the Hardy Family Office. And the Dark Order comes out with -1, and once the match starts, they start to argue basically immediately. The HFO takes control of this and wears down Orange Cassidy, and they take any chance to basically get an advantage that they can. The Dark Order even tries to work together for a bit, but Uno just can't, and he starts to walk out. He is stopped by -1, Ty Conti, Anna Jay, and Amanda Huber, John's fucking wife. You know you fucked up when the wife's coming in. So, she tells him that they have to smarten up and get it done now for Brody. Otherwise, they're making this a complete mockery of him. Uno hears this, he smartens right up, and the Dark Order is in full force once again, as they take out every member of the HFO with big dives, spears, power bombs, whatever they can hit them with, they do. The Dark Order then, I'm gonna just call it a quad team. They quad team George for the win. Yeah, that's basically how I can sum that up, because every member of the Dark Order messed him up good. For my Malteser scale, Dark Order and Orange Cassidy defeat the HFO. I gave it a 3.25 out of 5. For up next, it was Leo Rush. He cuts a promo, and it seems to be that he's all elite. They posted a picture later saying he's all elite, and I thought he'd retired, so this is definitely going to be interesting. FTR then says they are refocused now, and that's bad for everybody in AEW. Dan Lambert and the Men of the Year talk about why they did what they did last week and says they ended Jericho's career. Says that the only person who paid any attention to them, and that was Dan Lambert. That was Ethan Page talking, and says that they will not be overlooked anymore. We then get Hikaru Shida talks about going for her 50th win and says it will be against Serena Deeb, and Deeb says that's not going to happen. We then get a tag team match. Penelope Ford and the Bunny versus Ty Conti and Anna Jay. Ty and Anna look like they mean business tonight as they take it right to the Bunny and Ford, and eventually, rather quickly honestly, the Bunny and Ford turn it around and get going themselves, and they decide to isolate Anna Jay. They double team her and control her, almost toying with her, like taunting Anna, or Anna and Tay with her, as they beat on her. And Ty eventually comes in, and she picks up the pace and double teams Ford and with Anna as she tagged Anna back in, and she chases the Bunny outside as Anna gets taken out in the ring. Ty hits the Ty KO as the Bunny was coming into the ring to double team Anna, and Anna locks in the Queenslayer after she hit the J kick out of nowhere. She was being set up for something by Penelope, and she hit the J kick and locked in the Queenslayer for the win. Anna Jay and Ty Conti defeat the Bunny and Penelope Ford. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 3.25. Again, it was a really solid match, and I think this will probably be the finish to what's been going on. It was a clean finish. We're gonna have Anna and Ty move on from this. We then get MJF making his way to the ring, and he talks about the 4 pillars of AEW: Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and himself. He says that he deserves to be AEW World Champion. Says if Tony doesn't listen, he has other people's phone numbers, like Bruce Pritchard. Darby Allin makes his way to the ring and says MJF talks about, MJF talks about how Darby is the second guy, like how Sting was the second to other people. And he says that he's number 1. And Darby says that if MJF wants to leave, he should. There's no reason for him to stay, and Darby himself says that he's AEW for life. MJF then gets personal and says Darby's only straight edge because Darby got in an accident with his uncle who was drunk. And he says that the wrong person died in that accident. And Darby says that MJF won't break him mentally. He's probably heard that multiple times in his life before, as messed up as that sounds. And MJF just kind of shrugs it off and leaves. We then get the TNT Championship match. Miro defending against Sammy Guevara. And Sammy's challenging for his first ever title in AEW. I don't believe he's even challenged for the tag titles. He looks ready to defeat Miro. He isn't smiling. He's like he always is. He's staring daggers right at Miro. And he knows that he's going to have to use his speed to defeat Miro. He tries running at him, but Miro seems ready for it and knocks him down quickly and just takes Sammy out basically quickly. Choking him with his chain, and Sammy's just getting mad and knocks them outside and sending Miro into the steps. And he goes for the 630 senton, but Miro knocks him down and starts to taunt again, looking too overconfident for Sammy Guevara. And whenever Sammy makes any effort to offense, Miro just comes back stronger. And Miro just runs into Sammy and goes for it once again, but Sammy hits a Spanish fly and then sends Miro outside and hits a dive over the top post to the outside, so jumped over the ring post, and goes for the 630 again, but Miro stops him and sets up for the big kick. But Sammy moves, hits big knees, and goes to the top again, but Miro stops him and sets up for a superplex. Sammy pushes him off and hits a cutter. He then goes for the GTH, but Miro falls on him and says that it's game over, but Sammy rolls out of the ring. Wise guy. Miro rips off the turnbuckles in the anger, I guess, and Fuego kind of is like, hey, what are you doing, man? He's stopping him, and he gets twatted by Miro. And Sammy then sends Miro into the turnbuckle, hits the GTH and the 630 senton for the win. Sammy Guevara defeats Miro to win the TNT Championship. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 4 out of 5. It was fantastic. I loved every second of it. I'm happy for Sammy. I mean, I love when a new champion comes because it always feels like it's the start of a bunch of new stories. Sammy could now have any challenger. I imagine we're going to get a little bit of a program with Miro, but I doubt that we're going to get a rematch because that's not really a thing inside of AEW. But that was an incredible match. Sammy captured his first title in AEW. He also shared on social media that he's already got a new version of the title, similar to how every single TNT champion has had one. He's got one now. So it's black leather on gold, but the backing, like Darby's, instead of it being the shine and smooth like how Darby's was, it's all diamonds, similar to how the $1 million title is basically. It looks awesome. And if AEW is going to do this with every single person who holds the TNT Championship, I'm super for it. I think it's really neat that we're going to have basically a customized championship for each person. It's a really cool idea. My overall for this show, I gave it a 3.75 out of 5. It was really a good show. Perfect build. Well, not necessarily perfect build, but perfect conclusion. Awesome show for the Dark Order, just in general. I think it was a really solid show. My match of the night, it was the TNT title match. Nothing really topped it at all. And for the segment of the night, it goes to the Men of the Year. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with this. Just in general, I want to see where they're going with it. They say they're not going to be overlooked. I hope that means they're going for some titles. For my performer of the night, it goes to Sammy Guevara. He did amazing, but it's also going to Brody Lee, because I know if he was going to be on this show tonight, he would have been fantastic. And that is basically all I have to say about that. And that is all for this episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review. Thank you all for dropping in. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notifications whenever we upload a video. And I'll see you in the next one.